Welcome to On Writing with Onkarabile, a show that aims to promote reading and writing in the communities. We seek to restore pride and dignity of Africans through the power of reading and writing. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Onkarabile Mokoto and I am your host. Today on my show, I have a very special guest, Mr. Thabile Mange, who is here to share more all about publishing, and he's the founder of a publishing company. Mr. Thabile, thank you so much, sir, for coming to our show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Konje, what is the name of the company?
Publishing.
Oh, Mange Publishing. Mange Publishing. Mr. Thabile, let's talk about the process of publishing. The thought of one seeing the book, the ideas coming to life. Where do we start?
With publishing, we first receive the manuscript, and then we go through the manuscript. If the manuscript is okay, then the first process is to send it for editing, and then after editing, it's cover page, and then after cover page is ISBN. We apply for an ISBN. Which is part of copyright. Then thereafter is the production process, the typesetting, and then we have the proof book. And when the proof book is okay, then we can print.
Okay. So do you only take the manuscript from people, not if someone doesn't have any manuscript, you can't help as the publishing house?
No, we do.
Okay.
For instance, somebody would have an idea, but not knowing how to go about. So we sit and talk with the person. So he or she has a choice. We will either guide the person on how to write the book, if he or she has writing skills, or we would ghostwrite for them, which is one of the services that we are offering. So no, we also do help those.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that's good. If someone is watching the show and is hearing you talking about typesetting, proofreading, he doesn't even know what do you mean by that. If maybe you can just go in details and explain. When we talk about proofreading, what are you talking about?
When we talk about proofreading, the editor, well, sometimes it depends. There are editors who also proofread, and then sometimes you have an editor and a proofreader. Yes, a proofreader is somebody who checks the content and makes sure that everything that is there is correct. To also avoid certain things such as plagiarism, you'd find that somebody is using your work without quoting you. Mm-hmm. So it is the job of the proofreader to make sure that that is also referenced, and to use proper words. There are words that are similar, but you'll find that certain words fit better than the other,
Yeah.
So that's the job of the proofreader. Typesetting is...
No, before typesetting,
okay.
Editing, now because I'm now getting confused, difference between editing and proofreading.
Yeah.
Then let's talk about editing. What is the editing?
Editing is basically to edit grammar, English, and spelling. That's basically editing. And then proofreading is something else. They are there's a thin line,
okay.
But there is a difference. Hence, I'm saying some editors, they do both editing and proofreading.
Yeah.
And then some, they'll only do editing, and then others to do proofreading.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it important for one to proofread and edit?
Very much so.
Why?
No,
why is it important?
So. There is no reader that wants to read a book that is riddled with mistakes. It actually compromises the writer, even the publishing company, because there are processes that one has to follow if you publish a book. So it's very, very much important that the book is edited and proofread. There's one celebrity who sold her book, which was riddled with mistakes. Yeah. And she made a lot of money. So it's only celebrities who can get away with it. But if I were to commit such a a mistake, I doubt if people will continue.
And by the way, she didn't get away because she had to refund the people who bought that book.
Oh, I was not aware.
Yeah, no, she didn't get away.
But that's costly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's the cost that we are talking about. So it's very, very important that the book is edited and proofread. And you know what is interesting? Whilst it can be edited and proofread, there could also be mistakes, but at least let them be minimal. You know, you can't have a situation where every chapter has mistakes. So it actually compromises the writer.
So if one says, okay, I'm an English teacher, I've been teaching English for years. Mm-hmm. Now I want to write a book.
Yeah.
And then after writing a book, I don't see a reason of taking my book to Mange Publishing House to edit for me. Maybe they can only help me with printing. Do you advise such people who are saying, no, I'm good in English, so I can edit my book. I don't need someone. Can I edit for myself? That's the question actually that I'm asking.
One of the rules of book writing is that you should always give your book to 3 people, because there's always a blind spot. When you look at the printing process of newspapers, there are many editors. So the newspaper goes through many editors. You have a sub-editor, you have a chief sub-editor, you also have the deputy editor who goes through it. So it does not necessarily mean if you are good in English, you don't have to take your book for editing. It's always advisable. Even if you are an editor and then you write a book, you also have to take it for editing. That's why we have so many processes in the newspapers, and there's still mistakes. You still find mistakes in that very same process. So it's advisable that it should be edited.
Okay. Typesetting, you were explaining typesetting?
Typesetting, it's the internal, how do I put it? This word escaped me. So typesetting, basically, it's for the words or the sentences to align.
Okay.
Because when you send it to the printers, the book is not always aligned. So when you send it to them to typeset it, they have that machine where they are able to typeset it. There are people who are very much skilled who are able to use the word to typeset it. But it's always advisable to send it to printers, so that there is alignment, order. When you're just using Word, you'll find that they are not aligned, chapters are not the same. So if it's typesetted, if maybe the first paragraph it's 5 lines, the following one would also be 5 lines. So that's the importance of typesetting.
Okay. Yeah. And there's this one that I love, the issue of, you mentioned it, the book cover design.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, is it important for the cover? Because we have heard that don't judge book by its cover. We grew up hearing that way.
Yeah.
So, but is it important to judge a book by its cover?
Yes, with books, with books you judge the book by its cover.
Okay.
If a reader doesn't catch, let me say, if the book doesn't catch the eye of the reader, the chances of the reader buying that book are very slim. So the book cover serves as a marketing tool. It's very, very much important that you have a good book cover, because if it's not good, you are likely to lose readers. So
how do you make the book cover look good? Because we have seen covers that are not good.
Yeah, it's true. So
in your company, how do you make sure what determines the cover that is good?
The help of the graphic designer comes into play. Mostly we look at the title and the content. So we try to match the book cover and the content, And the colors also play a very important role. So we have to look at the colors, which color, which photo will suit that book cover. The other thing that is also important is the title, because it is in the space of the book cover. The title also attracts. You might have a good a good cover. But if the title doesn't attract, it also be a turn off. So the graphic designer plays a very, very important role when it comes to the book cover.
Okay. And then maybe advice here, I had this issue before, so I just want to hear from your view. Many authors like to put their pictures on the cover.
Yeah.
Do you advise that one can put their pictures on the cover? What is the reason of people putting their picture on their cover?
I think reasons vary. There are books such as motivational books. Sometimes it's advisable to put your picture. You have your full picture in the front cover, but it also goes with the topic. If you're talking about the sky, you can't put your picture there. it doesn't relate, So it has to be relevant, Some authors, they just want to promote themselves. It has nothing to do with the cover or the title, So yeah, certain books, it's very much relevant, but certain no, you can't just put your picture because you can.
Because the other author that I once had this topic with, he said no, actually many people who are putting the pictures is those who are well branded.
Okay.
Already they are known, so when they put a picture, already they are selling the book by their brand,
yeah.
So, and he said, what is the use of you as the first time writer and you put your picture there?
Yeah.
That was his argument. He said, no, it doesn't make sense that you are the first time author.
Yeah.
And then you already put the picture there. No.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
But there are no rules. So quite honestly, it's up to the author. But even the branded authors, it's still irrelevant if you're talking about a dog and put your picture. It doesn't correlate, So I understand what he's saying, that he's actually using his picture to sell the book, which does sell. But I think for people who understand, it will be a turn off, to say, but this guy is talking about something else and he's putting his own picture. Rather put it behind, even if you can have a full picture. It's better that way. But the front cover, it needs to talk to the topic.
Exactly.
So if the title says something else and you put your picture, no, there's no relevance. There's no relevance.
No, Mr. Thabile, I think we are going to go for a short break shortly. When we come back, I want to talk about the cost of self-publishing, or maybe let's just talk about it and then we can continue after the break. Let's just maybe start to talk about the cost of publishing. Because a lot of people will say, I want to publish a book, it's okay. I want proofread, typesetting, book cover design is fine, but I don't have money because publishing it takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
So the cost of publishing.
Publishing is costly. There are many writers who are unpublished because of lack of finance. So it is quite costly, but they can look at other options. There are publishers who sometimes advertise or invite authors with manuscripts that are unpublished to come and publish with them. So they would read the manuscript. If they are happy with the manuscript, they would publish them for free. But I don't know the terms and conditions or if there are any. So there is that alternative. And they can also look at the Department of Arts and Culture nationally, which usually invites authors with unpublished manuscripts to send them to them. They would also do the same process, read the manuscript. If they are happy, then they will publish it. But there are terms and conditions. So the author has to go to the website and check their terms and conditions. So there is an alternative, which is not easy because you find that there are many authors who send their manuscript to either the Department of Arts and Culture or to those particular publishers. But basically,
so it's the survival of the fittest.
It is. No, of course it is. That means your manuscript has to be of high standard.
Okay, now let's just go for a short break, my leader. When we come back, I want us to continue with this now because I want to know about now if your manuscript is not chosen, then is your dream, is your dream now going?
Defect.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are just going for a short break. When we come back, we are continue with Mr. Thabile Mange.
The Creative Corner with Nolu Knowles, a cozy and inspiring show that features interviews with artists, showcases their work, challenges, and successes. Every Tuesday at 2 p.m. only on Share Radio. Tune in live on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. This is Share Radio.
Welcome to On Writing with Onkarabile, a show that aims to promote reading and writing in the communities. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to subscribe, to share online. We are still having Mr. Thabile Mange here on the studio to share more all about publishing. Mr. Thabile, before we went for a break, we were talking about the cost of self-publishing. And you mentioned other alternative that one can take, to see their work coming to life. You mentioned the Department of Arts and Culture, where people can take their manuscript. You also mentioned other publishing houses that invites other authors. But then you spoke about the survival of the fittest. Now my question was, what if now, your manuscript is not chosen? Does it mean now your dream is defaced?
Not necessarily. There's an option that somebody has told me about. I haven't explored it as yet. That one can partnership with a publishing company, and then the publishing company would shoulder the cost. For instance, if somebody doesn't have money, and then we make a publishing partnership with that person, we would carry the cost. But the condition would be that, say, my name appear on the book. Say it's Onkarabile Mokoto and Thabile Mange, and then we would shoulder the cost, and then we'd also negotiate on how are we going to share the spoils. It's one option, but I haven't explored it as yet. And then the other option is that there are online platforms that one can use that are for free. Like for instance, Kindle. You don't have to pay anything. Maybe the cost would be editing. Because obviously you have to edit the book. So it would be a matter of maybe looking for people who are willing to edit for free. I've seen people going on Facebook saying, I don't have money, can somebody who has an experience in editing please edit for me? So that's another option that one can look at, and then thereafter you're publishing it on Kindle. Okay. So yes, you don't have to stay there and fold your arms. Do something, talk to authors, talk to publishers, talk to relevant people that can be of help. And
on the same note, one told me that there's an option of also pre-selling, about, pre-selling your book.
Yeah.
Before even the book obviously comes out, then you pre-sell. So I have not yet explored that, but I've seen one of the author saying they have sold about 100 copies, pre-sold.
Usually you do pre-selling if you are sure that you're going to print. If you're not sure, then 10 people buy the book and they don't cover the costs, then you're in trouble, So pre-selling, it's good when you're sure that you're going to publish or to print, and then you know that I have 50 people who've already pre-ordered. Then when you order, maybe you'd order for 100, then these 50 are already covered. So it's a very risky option, if you're not afraid of taking risk, you can do it. But if it doesn't work, you are in trouble.
Okay, leadership. You mentioned the issue of publishing online.
Yeah.
Which is digital publishing.
Yes.
and also you mentioned the Kindle, right? Then let's talk about Amazon. Do you also help people to put their books on Amazon?
At the moment, I don't. I've had a terrible experience. I've published on Amazon before. It has never worked for me. I've never received anything. I've never received a cent. No, quite honestly. And I've also asked other authors. They are sharing the same sentiment to say that they've never received anything. But I only understood why sometime this year, early this year, to say that at Amazon there's a stiff competition. If saying you write a book about don't quit your job yet, and there are other 50 authors who have written about it, and they are more famous than you, then your book goes down. The only one that appears is the one that of the famous authors. So hence there's no selling, So I don't at the moment, but I'm reconsidering. I'm actually consulting people, on which better platform, because there are other platforms other than Amazon. So I'm looking at going back and doing it, but not only focusing on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And your company, do you guys help, when it comes to turning your book into audiobooks and stuff? Do you also? No,
not yet. We're not offering that service.
But can you advise someone to do that?
Yes.
Is it a good thing?
It is a good thing. I've seen especially the current generation, and there are people who don't prefer to read. They prefer to listen. So I would really advise people to go for it as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And with audio, you can also put it whilst running or in the gym or cooking. You don't have to have space to read in a quiet space. You can listen anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Leadership. You mentioned the issue of partnering. I want us to talk about the types of publishing.
Okay.
And you have mentioned just a little bit when you spoke about an author partnering with a publisher. There is what we call traditional publishing, right? You are not doing that.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of publishing house it's yours?
It's self-publishing.
Okay.
Yeah. It differs from traditional publishing. Traditional publishing, you basically selling your rights to the publisher to publish your book. So they're in control of everything. Selling, marketing, distribution. And then they also determine the amount that you're going to get, But with self-publishing, it's totally different. You allow the publisher to publish on your behalf, but the name of the author remains on the book, and the author carries the financial responsibility. The author has the responsibility of marketing, selling, and distributing. So that's the difference. But the advantage with self-publishing is that whatever money you receive, it's yours.
Okay, so the rights still 100% rights. You still have
as an author.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So but you have answered this one because I was also coming to the issue of marketing and selling. If you guys are not helping your authors when it comes to marketing and selling?
I'm not offering that service at the moment. I'm focusing on publishing because I haven't reached the level that I want to reach. But what I always do with my authors, I also promote them on my social media platforms. I mean, it's necessary to get other prospective authors. They need to know who I have published. But I don't do that as part of my service or as part of my business.
Okay. So, but have you gotten some authors who published with you and they're doing well when it comes to the issue of marketing and selling? Because now the issue of publishing is good, but then is your book going to sell? Because the most important thing is to sell your book. You don't just publish your book just to be happy that, hey, my book is here, I have my book. You also want to sell,
Yes.
So have you encountered some authors who maybe are successful or have failed when it comes to the issue of marketing and selling? And maybe they come to you and say, hey, we are experiencing...
Yeah. No, there are authors that who have sold many books, and there are those that are struggling, Marketing and selling, it's quite an issue. But I've noted a trend, especially with self-publishing. The first 3 weeks is very key. After you've published, people get excited. They buy the books. But after 3 weeks, it dies down. So you need to have your own strategy. I always tell the authors that they should carry their books wherever they go. Whenever they get a chance, they must promote their books. That's how it works. So I'm not sure if my cycle is correct that it's 3 weeks. It may be more, it may be less, But after that, it goes south, Yes, like for instance, there's a author we published last week Sunday. She has confessed to me that she's not a seller, and she has asked me to sell on her behalf. I've agreed to promote, not to sell, but to promote. And during the launch, somebody gave advice to say that no, you know what. You can give your books to your friends, to your family members. Maybe you give two to sell on your behalf. Some they can buy. It's a hard slog. It's not easy to do that. So it's up to you. If you want to sell, you'll sell. If you don't, then.
But then this author, I don't agree with what she's saying. You can't say you're not a seller. I mean, but you write a book. You want the book to sell. But when you say you're not the seller,
exactly my sentiment. But no, when somebody says that, you can't say no, you are lying. I've explained to you that you can't write a book and expect somebody else to sell on your behalf.
Yeah.
Number one, you also have to attend radio interviews where you'll be talking about your book. It's part of selling, So if you're not prepared to do that, just know that your book is not going to be sold.
No, obviously.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if you don't be. Because now you have to be the one who believes in your product more than anybody else. As much as you can have people who sell for you, but you are the first person to actually be the first point of contact for selling your book. You
are the ambassador.
Yeah. So I think we need to actually advise, more authors that no, you guys, because I always say to authors, once you put a price on a book, you must know that you're in business.
Yes.
Yes. Because many authors don't treat their book as business. But once you put a price, because if you're not in business, then you must give your book for free. Then you know you're not in business.
Yeah, this has made me realize that there's a need of a workshop for authors, because some people are just fascinated by writing. They are not aware that book selling is part of business. Exactly. It's actually a business. Yes. So maybe they are more comfortable in writing and publishing, and that's it. And they think that the book will sell itself. So I think there is that need.
Yeah. No, leadership. We will be going for our short break again, but maybe before. We did talk about. I did ask you, but I didn't ask you in details about the conversion stories, and you did mention that some told you, but I need in details now. The conversion stories about your publishing company that you had, like the testimonies.
Oh, the testimonies.
The testimonies of, because people want to see something that is moving, a trend that is moving.
Yeah.
So,
no, I have testimonies. For instance, I've published Nkosana Zali. Nkosana Zali, the spokesperson of Mogale City. And many people bought the book because he's published with me. But the most important part, out of publishing Nkosana Zali, I think I've received about 4 authors, who Nkosana has
referred.
Yes, has referred and sold books to him. In fact, most of the clients that I have, they are referred. There's Ntele Motsepe. He's a former journalist. He's working for government now. In fact, he's a government spokesperson. He was also referred to him. And just last week, he referred his colleagues to me. So yeah, there's a lot. I think for me, it's a vote of confidence to say that you are doing well in what you're doing. Yeah. So those are the kind of stories that I'm having.
Oh no, we had led leadership. We had led. When we come back leadership, I want you to maybe go in details. There's this issue of people not reading in South Africa. South Africa, is a non-reading nation.
Yeah.
So I want us to embark on that. That as much as you're publishing books for people, do you have that thing in mind, or you don't consider that people are going to publish, but people are not reading, So are you considering that, or no? When you just do your work, as long as someone comes to this business, it's not personal, it's just business. You don't care if people are going to read the books or what. So I want us to talk about that when we are from break. Ladies and gentlemen, we are still having Mr. Thabile Mange. We are just going to go for a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to On Writing with Onkarabile, a show that aims to promote reading and writing in the communities. We are still having Mr. Thabile Mange talking about publishing. Mr. Thabile Mange, before we went for a break, I was asking about the statistics, that have proved or shown that South Africa is a non-reading nation, So I was asking if, as much as you're publishing books for people, are you having that in mind? Or is business as usual?
No, it's true. South Africans are not readers. That's why you don't have bookshops in the townships. But even in the suburbs, some bookshops are closing down. So it shows that we are not readers. No, obviously, as a publisher, you should take that into consideration. In fact, with my first book, it was voluminous, it was quite voluminous. And fortunately, the person who was editing for me was very frank with me to say that, look, South Africans don't read. So if you write such a thick book, chances of them reading and buying it are very slim. So reduce it. It was quite a task to reduce it, but I had to. What I found out is that when you reduce your book, it becomes attractive. A person looks at it as, I can read it in an hour or two, So it's one of the advices that I pass on to my clients to say that rather look at the volume of your book so that it can be attractive. Obviously, they differ, and the books cater for different target markets, So if it's an academic book, you can't compromise that. If it's voluminous, it's voluminous, But we consider that because now it would be useless to publish a book and it's not bought. I know some people will buy it simply because it's written by Onkarabile, which is good. I mean, everyone wants his book to be bought. But the most important thing is you want it to be read. Otherwise, it's useless. That information won't be disseminated. So we take that into cognizance, and we do engage our prospective clients. Some, they'll tell you that, no, this is how I want it. It doesn't matter whether people don't read it because of the volume, but this is how I want it. Yes, but we do take that into consideration.
Right. And then you mentioned something earlier about book launch, and that's the question that I wanted to ask about book launches. As a publishing house, do you help people to launch their books? Also, let's talk about launching on its own. Do you advise people to launch? Because I have heard people saying book launch is expensive. You end up losing instead of gaining from it. So what's your take on that?
My take is that if you have money, you can launch. It forms part of the marketing purpose. But you have to make sure that it has an impact, and you have to make sure that people are going to come. If they don't come, but make sure that they buy the book. But if you don't have a budget at all, it's a loss. So don't even attempt it. I always look at the prospects of the launch. I think I told you the other day that when I launched Ndate Matsobane's book, Struggle Hero, the book were sold, on the launch. I was sure of that. So I personally don't prefer to launch because I feel that it is an expensive exercise. But if you have the money and you don't mind losing it, you can launch. But I think again, I've noticed something when we were launching on Sunday, that maybe we make it expensive. Like for instance, that venue is very reasonable. So if one had to hire that venue and do something little, with little costs, I think one can launch. You have to be creative about it. Sometimes you can launch here, but launch digitally, or online. You'll have your speakers here and you put it on Facebook, you put it on Twitter or wherever. It doesn't have to be that expensive. So basically, I think what people need to understand is that launch is part of the marketing. It's no different from a marketing process. Actually, it's part of it. So hence I'm saying if you have the money for it, yes, you can launch. But if you don't have to.
I wanted to ask you when you said maybe we are the one who is making it expensive. Mm-hmm. What will make it to be expensive? Like, what will make me to lose instead of gaining?
The costs. People go all out. They buy food, banners. Some, they also bring those red mats. What do they call it?
Red carpet.
Red carpet. Yeah. There's what do they call this thing of putting nice
banners.
It's costly. It's costly. The food is costly, and the other thing, you don't know how many people will come. You see, with lunch it's very tricky. You can invite 50 people, only 10 people will turn up. So it's a loss. You've prepared food for 50 people and they are not there. Some people are decent. You'd invite 50 people, and those who are not coming, they'll buy the book. Before the launch. So at least you've covered that. But some they won't.
So is it advisable to make a launch with selling the tickets like your book, so that when people come to the launch, because I've seen other people doing it, when people come to the launch already, they're just coming they're just coming to collect their books. So by that you are sure that you actually have sold your books.
I think it's a good strategy. You beforehand, you already know how many people have bought the book.
Exactly.
I think it's a good strategy. But does it work? That's another thing. Some people are fortunate to sell, pre-selling, but some people don't buy. the same lady who were launching her book, she actually was supposed to have launched last year, and she utilized the strategy, of selling tickets. She didn't sell.
It's the same thing like that you spoke about, the pre-selling.
Yeah.
It's risky also. There's one person will buy, and you can't use that money, for your cost. No, it's survival of the fittest.
It is.
Leadership, thank you so much for coming to our show. If people want to get hold of you, they want to publish their books, they need the advice from you, where can they get hold of you?
Mange Publishing has a website, www.mangepublishing.coza. I'm on Facebook, Thabile Mange, and then my cell number is 072 575 0066. 072 575 0066.
And maybe leadership, your last words to upcoming authors, even established or not rather established but published authors. Mm-hmm. Your advice to them about this industry, just the success. How can someone succeed in this industry?
I think it takes patience. Yeah, you just have to be patient. Business takes time, And then with up-and-coming authors, they also need to be patient. They don't have to do a rush job. Some of the manuscript that we receive, it's nothing to write home about, because they are rushy, and they do not listen. When you advise them to say, no, man, you need to do 1, 2, 3. Take this out, put in this, they don't listen, So it's very much important that when you're writing a book, especially for the first time, you speak to people who have written books before so that they can guide you. You lose nothing. Instead, you gain because they've already walked the path and then they will show you how to do it.
Leadership, thank you so much, for such informative, conversation, and thank you for making time to come to our show. And I believe, our viewers will get hold of you to get more of your services and ask for some advice, as you have said, that, it's good that we ask those who have gone before us. We will succeed by that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our show. My name is Onkarabile Mokoto and I'm your host. Please don't forget to subscribe to Share Online. Let's meet next time, same place, same time on Share Online.